Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Wednesday, January 30th, so this will be the last day of the old ranking system. So theoretically, it would kind of make sense that to maybe try to get up to a higher rank. We made it to rank 19, we're at rank 20 right now, but you know, next month with the significantly less amount of stars required, which is definitely swinging in the absolute opposite direction of what they had done, where they added a ton of more levels and added more stars. So like by the end of next month, I'm expecting I might make it up to rank 15. Or maybe I won't change positions at all and I'll still be, for the amount of effort and time I put into it, stuck at rank 19. I don't think I want to play Rogue or Warrior, so we'll re-roll this. And then now we have to play Rogue anyways. Okay, thanks. Thanks, game. You would think that re-rolling the daily quests might imply something to them. So what's this? The Void Singularity. Beyond the Void's event horizon, all of your minions become crushed into a single powerful entity of light. Build a deck and sacrifice your minions to the Void. So, for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to come over to the Rogue. Here it is, Malygos Rogue. And copy this. Now I'll take some rogue cards. Apparently I also have some cards that can be turned into dust. We're starting early. It's noon Central Time. It also happens to be an incredibly deadly cold day in the United States. So yeah, maybe more people will be on home watching YouTube today. Maybe not. Okay. So I'm sitting with some no-dos next to me, and the reason, of course, is because of my insomnia has not been working very well, where I've been sleeping almost all the day away. I'd usually be going to sleep right about now and then waking up 4 to 6 hours from this point. But I'm gonna try and stay awake all today so that I'll get back to sleeping for 8 hours instead of sleeping for 4 hours. I finished playing Myst 3 Exile. Got all the endings I think you can possibly get. Myst 3 compared to Myst 1 or Riven, the sequel to Myst, is way easier game with a lot less random red herring items to play with, toys on desks or books to read. There are 2 major books and pages of one book that I imagine I actually didn't get all the pages of that book, but yeah, I was happy a lot with now being able to own Myst 3 and Myst 4 on Steam, since it hasn't been available on Steam for a very long time. But it is very fair to say that Myst 3 is not as impactful as Myst 1 or 2 is. It just isn't. So what I'm trying to do, if I'm gonna play the Malygos strategy here, is to get Malygos in my hands, nothing else in my hand besides Malygos, play this one Cabal Delusionist, and then trigger his death rattle as many times as possible.
Justice is mine.
So it seems like the Void Singularity at the end of the turn, of each player's turn, whatever you summon goes into it, powering up that one character. Interesting. Yeah, so I'm done with mystery. There's not a ton to really say there, other than I did run into one point where I think the game was not particularly being fair at all because of requiring you to put in these codes.
Justice is mine.
That have 4 symbols that you have to start at the top and go in a clockwise motion to put in the 4 symbols. But at no point in the game does it really say that, so I put the first symbol up here, and then as if we're reading, I went to the second symbol here, third symbol here, fourth symbol here, and it could have taken an hour of brute forcing it, frankly, extra, just to get that to work. Okay. I don't think the Void Singularity gets any of its special effects, though. Yeah. So. Yeah, this is a problem.
Justice is mine.
I can play these cards and I can work towards that, but in all honesty, this daily quest, once it's done, I probably should do this daily quest outside of this Tavern Brawl, and I should do something different. I should probably play as a hunter. Hunter, cheap and easy characters to play. Let's see. And
justice is
attack.
Mine.
And do this and do this and go ahead and do that.
Job's done.
And end the turn. Yeah, and so next I think I will be playing Deponia Doomsday, the 4th in the Deponia point-and-click adventure series, just to wrap up that series and kind of address some of the confusion there, because there is a decent amount of confusion. This would be like the worst deck to play. Jeez, do I not have anything better I can do? Druid. I guess we're stuck with Druid, or I'm gonna have to make my own a new deck. This is like a trench deck, isn't it? So yeah, I'm still very much embracing the idea of just playing whatever game I really feel like, unless there's a big reason not to play it. There was a reason not to play Assassin's Creed 3 yet, so I won't play Assassin's Creed 3, but otherwise time slots are just going to be random. I think maybe by removing that restriction on myself, it frees it up some more. And in general, I'm still just doing 2 time slots, trying to get recordings up till the Halloween time frame, and then I'll have to reevaluate. If I was smart, I would do 2 time slots until Halloween, build Halloween back into 3 or 4 time slots, and then move forward from that position and start doing November and December coverage. And yeah, and then moving forward to the next year, because there's really not a lot of chance, it's basically impossible that I would have enough content that I'm gonna get a year ahead in the next 3 or 4 months. So I'm gonna be halfway through 2019 before I could even potentially start to be a year ahead. So I need to just move forward and not look backwards, and write off the first half of 2019 as going to just be a lighter content section. Let's play this.
Job's done.
Have 17 new tweets before I haven't even started. Let's see. I'm just looking here. By the way, Steam, the Activision Blizzard here updated Hearthstone today in preparation for the new month. Goodbye Doomsday. Wait, Goodbye Deponia is different than Deponia Doomsday, isn't it? Oh my god, is there a fifth one? There might be a fifth one. Cost 0 if you cast spells that cost 5 or more this turn.
Job's done.
Well, Goodbye Deponia is coming out for the PS4 and Xbox One, or is now available as of 26 minutes ago, I guess. Which then I'm guessing either Goodbye Deponia is just a renaming of something that elsewise already existed, or there's something else to be said with that. Let's see. Ooh. That was a sweet move. So yeah, there's reasons to play Deponia somewhat. But yeah, also I just want to finish that series, and we'll have to deal with the Deponia point-and-click games in their weird, slightly weird German style in which they tell stories and never really end on a happy ending, which I find slightly disappointing. Right. This and nothing else. So let's go through the news. I say this every time, but there's no reason to try and make this go longer. Right, draw a card, gain 1 armor for each card in your hand. Destroy that. Deal that. And attack that. So we have a game on Steam called Stormhill Mystery Family Shadows. This is a new publisher, and obviously this is a hidden object game. Or at least it looks like a hidden object game, enough that I'm not really interested in. Like, even if this is just an adventure game with actually no hidden object elements, it's still of that level of quality where it feels very much like a hidden object game. Yeah, $8.89 discounted. I don't think I can open the door here and say, well, maybe this game qualifies just because there's no hidden object gameplay in it, that it should be on the fall list. It's still of that quality. Let's see.
What to do?
Draw a card or become a copy. Let's draw a card.
Time waits for no one.
Draw a card. Gain 6 armor. And gain 6 armor. And then that'll do 6 damage to a minion right there. So yeah, Stormhill Mystery Family Shadows. Not one that's gonna make it to the fall list. Let me see if this developer has made anything else. I guess we could look there. Made a game called The In-Between Lands in 2015 that's mostly positive with 79 links, 79 reviews. But all the games that they're publishing seem to be hidden object games of some sort and not of any real interest. 6 damage there. And play this.
Mental dislocator.
And play this.
TC-130. Mental dislocator.
And do this. And
For the wild.
kill that, I guess. Next we have a game on Steam called Desolate City: The Bloody Dawn Enhanced Edition. This looks like an RPG Maker garbage game. I bet there isn't even a non-enhanced edition on Steam. This is $5.39. There's a Steam Greenlight game. It's not really a achievement game. Looks like it's probably a low effort Chinese game though, if I was to guess. Right. Deal 5 damage, gain 5 armor, summon that, draw 5 cards. Yeah, this developer on Steam has not developed anything. This publisher on Steam has published some other games, all of which look like either, well, all of them look like anime games, whether they're Chinese anime games or Japanese anime games. It would be the question there. So, I know because I'm starting a little early, we probably won't have as much as far as things to talk about, but hey, how's this gonna go? A freezing trap? Interesting. How much does this cost us? Summon. 7 mana. Wonder if the cost changes. I'm trying to win here because I don't want to go through this twice.
Ooh, I wonder what this does.
Let me see this. Deal 5 damage. Plus this would be enough to...
I'm out of card. My hand is too
I almost lost there. Lemon Lover on the chat. Looks like he changed his logo too. His little icon says Rydo, it's early. Yep, I'm starting early, or late in my case, so that I can try and stream and not be half asleep while I'm streaming. And then I'm also probably going to end up taking either a 5-hour energy drink or a no-dose drink that I have to try and stay awake all day. I want to get back to sleeping in 8-hour increments. Hey, we got an epic classic card, which on our main account still doesn't mean anything. Like the only card we're missing, unless it's going to give us gold versions of cards, which we really haven't been getting a lot of gold versions of cards. We are getting dust though, so that's nice. Let's see, where are we? The thing is, we may very well run into a scenario where there is a new expansion coming rather quickly, and it just hasn't been announced. Hearthstone hasn't been great about building up the hype for expansions. Although I guess Artifact is still doing pretty badly. Yeah, the only thing I would need would be to create a couple of these for a complete classic pack. And I don't really see a reason to spend 800 of my 1200 dust to do that, unless Hearthstone Deck Tracker is going to tell me that there's a reason for that. Because there might be better cards in Rastakan's Rumble or the next expansion that are better off to use those dusts. Let's see. Lemon Lover says I like it. Thumbs up. So now we just need to play rogue class cards, and then we'll be done with the daily quest. For the American account, we'll just play ranked. No reason not to. Meanwhile, next game we have to talk about is SCP-087 VR Survivor, which I'm fairly certain I saw a game by a very similar name. So I don't know if this is the same game getting re-released again or what, but this is definitely suffering from dark screenshot syndrome. It looks like it's just an asset flip VR game. It's in early access. It's asking for $14.99, which is double what you would normally be asking for a VR game. VR games roughly go between $8, $7, and $10.
None will survive.
Yep. Yeah, I'm definitely not promising that I'm going to start streaming earlier, but I will take that feedback into consideration, definitely, because let's face it, on an average Hearthstone stream, I'm only getting, like, at best 10 people watching. So if it is a case that my audience I could grow an audience and have an audience if I was to stream earlier at noon instead of what I was thinking was the right time. I was thinking after school and after work. I was thinking 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, times like that. But I could definitely be wrong about that. It seems like a lot of people these days are able to get away with they're able to get away with the concept of watching YouTube at work, and that's something that I wouldn't think you really would be able to get away with, but okay. Or at school. So maybe I should stream at noon Like, I'm willing to try the targets any time frame. How well I actually target it is going to be a big question. If it was just up to me and I really didn't care, I'd probably start streaming around midnight or 1 in the morning. But that's not realistic, probably. And I can always record during those times when I'm awake at midnight or 1, and that's usually what I am doing.
New shinies.
3 less, return everybody to... I don't even have any weapons, so... Just go ahead and do that. Gamatsu has an article, Winning Post 9 delayed to March 28th in Japan. This horse racing game requires, quote, further quality improvements. The reason I clicked on this article in particular is I was kind of interested in seeing when this game would have been out. Let's see. Because, or what the, actually I'm interested in seeing what the game is actually looks like, because a horse racing game, like horse racing in Japan, those games, the ones that I've seen that have actually come over, are pretty weird looking and weird in their themes. But I imagine there are some legitimate ones too where there isn't anything strange about them. Right. Do I want to play Vanish now, or do I want to wait? Just play the secret and do this. And then in the turn. Winning Post 9 will be available for the PS4, Switch, and PC. And here, there's a link to the teaser trailer, so that's what I wanted to see. Show me what this video looks like. Not that this really has a good chance of coming to the West, or that I'd really play it. I would play a horse racing game though, I guess. I guess because that would be something pretty unique and pretty weird. And I love to play unique and weird games.
Justice is mine.
There we go. Yeah, and the teaser trailer really didn't show me anything, but so whatever, let's move on. Gamatsu has another article, Compile Heart to announce, quote, a new RPG that follows current trends this springs, and more otome, or otomate? That sounds like that's a misspelling, unless otomate means something I've never heard of. Let's see, whenever your hero power kills a minion, draw a card. Let's... we have a Vanish.
Justice is mine.
There we go. So, if Compile Heart is making a new RPG that follows current trends, I would assume that it's probably something like a Sword Art Online isekai, people going into a video game, in a video game style game, and probably less of the anime moe characters that are kind of constantly
Monsters behind you.
causing problems. Right. Next spell. We need to sap this and
Justice is
attack
mine.
here and hope this doesn't screw up. Hope he doesn't kill this guy. I don't know why he would kill this guy, but just gotta kind of hope. Then I want to play this. Is he gonna rush? I don't know why you'd want to rush taunt character anyways.
I should beat you.
7 to an undamaged minion. Draw some more minions. 8 damage to an enemy. Play this.
Justice is mine.
And can't really do anything else. Let's see. Additionally, Idea Factory President shared an additional comment. The company's Girl Games branded Automate. Oh, so Automate is a brand. All of our console titles are moving to Switch. Many new titles are planned to be announced during the Automate Party event in June. So they're moving everything to Switch, probably in direct response to Sony censorship. I almost got that to win. I really need to rebuild my rogue deck. Yeah, I guess I'm kind of looking forward to a new expansion because I really need to look at the win-loss ratio on some of these. Whereas, like, the Warlock has had an amazingly high win ratio. Some of these other meta decks that I'm playing not doing well for me at all.
Let the hunt begin.
None can escape my fury.
Let's see. And this one, this Malygos, really only works if we have both Malygos on the first draw and the Cabal Delusionist. And every other card you just kind of have to sit on to get the maximum effect. Next on Steam we have a game called Coffee Vendor with a capital R. It does not look like a game about coffee vendoring. Instead looks like a VR experiment in just a lot of different things. It looks just like a demo or collection of demos. It's free to play, so I guess the price is right if you have VR, but I'm still not sure that's even the best version of something like that. You might do better. Do better with paying a few dollars to get a better VR experience of Carnival games. So we've got half of it. Now we just need
Justice is mine.
the other half. Next we have a game on Steam that has a bunch of Asian characters and is in parentheses called Crazy Skull Simulator, which looks like a rip-off of Prison Simulator, which, heck, schools and prisons aren't too different. It's already rated mostly negative, though, and it really does not look like it's a good game. Again, this is like a game where you're doing somebody's job. $7.49 discounted right now. Yeah, it's a Chinese game. I don't see a reason why it would be fun to do somebody's job to run a school.
Think.
Draw a weapon.
No shinies.
And do this because this doesn't matter. And then the turn. Yep. So far, I don't know if we're gonna see any quality games today.
To my side.
Still trying to play cards, so if I'm gonna lose this next turn, which it looks like I am, I need to just go ahead and break out of this. And am I gonna lose next turn? I think we can maybe stretch this a little bit longer. Next we have a game on Steam called Super Alpaca Bros, which looks like it's a Smash Brothers clone, but done horribly as a troll game. 99 cents, no discount, with its own third-party EULA, multiplayer only. Yeah, I don't see anything there of interest. I'm just desperately trying to buy time.
You are not welcome here.
Banana, a golden banana. Okay. Well, we're done with that, so 3 damage to the hero. 1 damage here. Preparation. This.
Justice
Attack.
is mine.
Explosive trap, of course. End the turn. Gamatsu has an article, Resident Evil 2's first week shipments top 3 million. I heard some arguments on the Giant Bomb podcast this week, which I'm still listening to, sadly. Seems like they got a new employee, but they didn't really introduce that new employee, so I don't recall actually hearing them this week. So maybe they just had somebody step in and fill in while temporarily. I guess maybe that was what happened. Because, yeah, they really didn't introduce this new employee. But they made an interesting argument about maybe you really don't need to play Resident Evil 7 to play Resident Evil 2. Or maybe even you don't need to play the remake of Resident Evil 1 to play Resident Evil 2. I've never played Resident Evil 2 before, so it wouldn't be terrible to just start all over again. That would give me potentially some time to try to work around the current version of Resident Evil 4, which just does not run properly enough for me to be willing to play it. Let's see if we can get a watch and learn. I was supposed to do this off screen, but I didn't get to it. So let's watch this. Also, the Capcom developer of Resident Evil, I think, came out and said that the fans would have to really come out and scream and ask for a remake of Resident Evil 3. Resident Evil 3, not super well received. But at this point, I think you kind of want them all to get remade. So Resident Evil 3, Code Veronica, with the major success of RE2 being remade, I think it would be silly to not just ride the gravy train all the way to a Resident Evil 4 remake. Yeah, I don't see a way that a reason to not just redo Veronica and 3 and make some money, even if it doesn't make it as much money as Capcom would like. It gives them more time to remake 4, which in 4, if timed right and in a remaster, would probably sell very well too. And there are big differences between 1 and 2 and 4 and how the games were later. Now this is weird. I'm looking at this game, Hero Staff. I'm fairly certain I already decided to put this on the follow list, so I either open this tab a second time, or there's 2 games that came out that looked very similar. But I'll put this on the follow list again, I guess. And usually I would write off a game with 8-bit graphics, but there's something about this that makes it feel very NES-like, and if there are enough people that play it and review it and tell me it's good, I'm willing to step back into that old school graphics, very old school graphics. TechRaptor has an article. Quantic Dream will now develop for all platforms after NetEase buys a minority stake. So this is a whole tornado of stories when you think about how Quantic Dream came out with their Detroit game most recently, and then they were accused of or the CEO was accused of being sexist, and the IT department refused to work and got fired, and then apparently maybe they'll get their job back because it's a French company, and who knows what really happened behind there. We're gonna eventually find out, but it's all in arbitration or court cases right now. NetEase, on the other hand of that story, is the Chinese company that I think owns League of Legends and has been dealing for a long time with the Chinese blackout of not approving any new games, so they're trying to make any profit anywhere. And NetEase had already been buying stakes in other companies in the same way Tencent had. So you have a French company that now is partially owned by a Chinese company, and I would say the Quantic Dream style of doing cinematic games that are barely games, that more they are Telltale-esque experiences, but possibly even worse written than Telltale stories were.
Job's done.
Like, now that is the same company that is in part going to be focused with NetEase to do, I imagine, something else. I wouldn't be surprised if they start working on mobile games or have some of their team work on mobile games or something. But maybe that's what NetEase wants, though, is maybe NetEase wants to move into AAA style quality games. Or maybe NetEase doesn't care what they make as long as it makes money. I wouldn't be surprised if the CEO, David Cage of Quantic Dream, eventually leaves the company and Quantic Dream changes into a very different company. But the instant change they are doing is they are now no longer just favoring PlayStation releases, which is probably a great thing because the studio Quantic Dream, this article says, has been around for 22 years and it has worked with Sony for the past 12 of them. So There's been at least 3 games for Quantic Dream that are somewhat worth playing. Like, I don't think that I would never want to play them, but they've been PlayStation exclusives. If they come over to PC ports and they're half decent and they're not too expensive, I would be more than happy to do a series on them. If that's not really how it goes and it doesn't get ported to PC, then I suspect we would it would just be on the Switch, which Quantic Dream's games really wouldn't look great on the Switch, quite frankly. So I guess maybe you would go to Xbox, and they would look fine on the Xbox, but that still doesn't help me as a PC gamer. Let me look in this article as I'm really just reading the title of the article and then speculating blindly from the rest of it. It just says NetEase developed some of the most popular PC and mobile games in China with their focus on online gaming. The company also perhaps partners with groups such as Blizzard Entertainment and Minecraft during immersion. They partner with those companies because China requires you to partner with a Chinese company to do business in China. Not like either one of them would have chosen that. Moving on, TechRaptor has a different article. Digital Capital, or Digi-Capital, game companies raised $5.7 billion in investments during 2018. Epic Games was the biggest recipient of that money, which I guess makes sense. Everybody who doesn't know about investing in video games probably invested in Epic. That being said, this article should be bookended with the fact that right now the US economy, last time I looked, was not doing very well, and like GameStop was thinking about selling itself, and then it said no, we're not going to sell our company, and then it lost like 26% of its shares, and these numbers are probably wrong, but the entire stock market has not been great. So if there was a gold rush to invest in Epic and other games companies, I imagine a lot of that gold rush money has been lost in the current valuations of video game companies. So if these are short-term stock investors, they probably lost their shirt. Maybe in the long term they'll see people will see some profits. That's the right way to invest, but you never really know. Video game companies in particular are probably the worst to invest in because they shut down pretty frequently. Moving on, next we have a game on Steam called Tales of Ancient Knights, which looks like a mobile game that is half an effort to be animated and not just a text-based game, but it's calling itself a visual novel. This really does not fall under the category of quality for a visual novel that I'd be interested in. They're asking for $1.49 discounted. Not a terrible price, but unless this was written really, really well, I wouldn't play it. And I don't have enough. So the guy's telling me bad pick in Arena. Everybody's playing Arena right now. I wonder. Are people getting free runs of Arena? No. Well, we'll just watch them. Hey, just watch and hope we win.
Jaina versus Gul'dan.
Meanwhile, we'll go through the news and
You asked
and
for it.
just kind of wrap up. Like,
Hello.
if he loses one more time, he'll be out of the arena. Next, we have a game on Steam called Tale of Inky Pilgrimage, which
I see a vision into flame.
I don't like the animation style here, and this is just an RPG Maker game.
My pretty bird.
Yeah. Same old, same old. $7.99 discounted. That's not making it anywhere. GameIndustry.biz has an article. Unity acquires Vivox. Engine maker picks up a voice and text service. Will have it continue to operate independently. So I've never heard of Vivox. V-I-V-O-X. Seems like Unity is going all over the place, just trying to get its fingers in as many pies as possible. Meanwhile, Unreal is doing the Epic Store, so I feel like Unity could be tricked into investing in the companies and just trying to stay as big as Unreal by the major investment and success of Fortnite in the Epic Store.
Do you need a blessing?
I may have this backwards, though.
The sun has set for me.
No, yeah, Unity owns Fortnite. And Fortnite is the Epic Store. If it's anybody that needs to do anything, it's the... Ah, man, I got it confused. One of them needs to change their names. People are investing, people are spending money on companies. Probably a good point at this point, because, like I said, if the valuation of stocks are very low and these companies are sitting on cash, now would be the time to buy other companies. In that same vein, TechRaptor has that article, GameStop dials back company sales, stocks plunge 26%. So yeah, that was a mistake, clearly. If they were gonna sell, they should have committed to it and done it. Don't ever change your mind, or don't ever let people know you changed your mind. Bad pick in Arena. It's pretty much all I ever get in Arena is bad picks. Next we have a game on Steam called Breathe the Peace World. This, I suspect, is a Chinese game just by this animation alone. It looks like it's an asset flip game with just this panda bear and snow and trees. Requires VR, it's free to play. It says it's English only. There was a game I saw a YouTuber playing that was on Steam where you were raising birds like Tamagotchi style, and you were also like building a backyard garden where birds would land by themselves, and so that you kind of are doing all kinds of different things around this bird garden, feeding them and giving them bird toys and such. And it looked like it would have been a really fun mobile game, but it wasn't a mobile game, it was on Steam and I'm like, oh no, there's no way I would want to come on my PC and every hour or so and have to feed a Tamagotchi bird. I phrased that last sentence very poorly. Moving on, Gamma Sutra has an article. Deep Silver owner THQ Nordic. THQ Nordic acquired Deep Silver a couple months ago, I think. Distance itself from the Metro Exodus exclusivity deal. THQ Nordic claims the controversial decision to yank Metro Exodus from Steam and launch it as a, I believe, 1-year time exclusive on the Epic Games Store was made entirely by Koch Media, which owns the Metro game property. Although THQ Nordic purchased both Koch Media and its publishing division, Deep Silver, back in 2018, the company today wrote in a tweet explaining, quote, the decision to publish Metro Exodus as a Times Epic Store exclusive was made entirely by Koch Media's side, as Metro is their intellectual property. They are a sister company to THQ Nordic Vienna, which is the reason why we can and will not comment. It says can, but I think they mean to say can't, and will not comment on this matter. THQ Nordic Vienna also, I don't think, is the parent company of THQ Nordic.
I spread the master's will.
So, on Reddit at least, it seems like people are now, with the Metro Exodus stunt, that this was like the first AAA game that people actually wanted to play that was going to be an exclusive on the Epic Store. Everything up until this point have been small indie things that weren't going to get a lot of pushback. But yeah, people are now to where I was at the beginning, which is to say, this, if they're just going to separate the player base and have timed exclusives, that's not going to be a good thing for people on Steam, which is still the majority of people playing games on PC. Let's see. Isn't that quote here? We do not want to categorically exclude the possibility of timed exclusives for any of our games in the future, THQ Nordic, but speaking in the here and now, we definitely want to have the players choose the platform they are liking and making our platform and make our portfolio available to as many outlets as possible. Let's see. As for how the deal unfolded, Deep Silver Chief Executive Dr. Clemens Kundratitz explained that the publisher wanted to take advantage of Epic Games Store's, quote, generous revenue share, which will see the company take an 88% of revenue compared to the standard 70%. So, how many lost sales is the question? How many lost sales for an entire year is that extra 18% worth to them? And apparently it's going to be quite a lot. I don't think I have an article about this, but apparently Eurogamer, a site I no longer follow or read any of their articles on, I heard wrote an article talking about Starbreeze, the Payday 2, Payday developers, and they kind of summed up a lot of things we have already kind of heard about. I think Starbreeze was under investigation for insider trading, but it sounds like there's a lot of shenanigans have happened inside that company, or are happening right now inside the company, so we probably will get a more definitive article or a bit of news about it in the next month or two. So that's me reporting on the fact that I'm not reporting on something. Is there anything else to say about Metro Exodus, though? I really thought I was gonna want to play this, and I find the strangest part about the timed exclusive is that it's a year long. If it was only a few weeks, if it was even a month or 2 or 3 long, I would understand it. But most game developers and publishers only care about the first 6 months of sales. To say you're committing to a year of exclusivity sounds insane. And then the weirder part about that is, if you did pre-order Metro Exodus on Steam, it's still going to be fulfilled, they say. It's still going to get updates, it's still going to get patches, it's still going to get the DLC, but it's only for the people that pre-ordered it on Steam. When you put those two things together, the 12-month long exclusivity and the fact that it was available on pre-order in Steam and pulled, what I suspect is going on here, and I would be very cautious about buying Metro Exodus now at this point anywhere. I suspect it's a terrible game. That would be my guess, is that they know it's not going to get any sales anyways, so 18% of the 1,000 sales it's going to get before word comes out that it's horrible might be all they can get. Alright, well, my watch and learn did not work for me, so I'm gonna actually have to play Hearthstone. That sucks. Again, I'll have to do a watch and learn off screen at sometime. Moving on, Gamasutra has an article. EA amends the FIFA loot boxes in Belgium after regulators increase pressure. EA will no longer sell FIFA points in Belgium after the country's gaming declared loot boxes illegal. That's an underlined phrase linking to another article, I'm fairly certain. The US publisher had initially refused to remove and amend loot boxes in the FIFA titles, but after, quote, further discussions with the Belgian authorities, end quote, we have agreed to pull FIFA points from sale by January 31st. And I wonder if those further discussions were, we're going to not let your game be played, and we're gonna fine you and throw you in jail. It's a move that means players no longer will be able to purchase randomized FIFA Ultimate Team Packs for real-world cash. Instead, they'll only be able to buy them using coins earned in games, which means almost certainly playing the game in Belgium is going to be super grindy and not very fun. I don't know if FIFA was ever fun, though, or has been fun for many generations. The Belgian Gaming Commission outlawed loot boxes in games back in April after investigating its usage in Battlefront 2, FIFA 18, Overwatch, and Counter-Strike Global Offensive. He ruled that loot boxes were games of chances and thus in breach of the country's gambling laws. We could go on with this article, but the main point has been said, certainly. No more loot boxes for the Belgian people. Gamasutra has an article, GDC State of the Industry. Nearly half of devs say they're most interested in the Switch. The Game Developers Conference, I think, skews mostly towards indies and PC developers. So the idea that indies and developers, PC developers, are focused and interested on streaming on the Switch is, or being on the Switch, is not surprising, really. The Switch has gotten very friendly to indie devs. And then you also kind of have a self-selecting group here, because any AAA developer would probably not even answer these kind of surveys or go to GDC. I'm looking at a picture here, and the percentages for Xbox 360 is just 2%, Xbox One is 28%, PlayStation 4 Pro is 38%, so there's still 10% more people that would rather be on the PS4 or PS4 Pro or the Xbox One over the Xbox One or Xbox One X, which shows that Microsoft still has a lot of work to work on. 2% are willing to do the Nintendo 3DS. 45% are willing to do the Switch. And you could see a lot of reasons for that, certainly. Some of which being just like, let's get the kids while they're early mentality. 33% are smartphones and tablets, which, man, that means Xbox is not even as popular as a smartphone, developing on smartphones. 2% Apple TV. How many people entered this? It may have been only 50 people responded to the survey if we're seeing just 2%, 2%, or even slightly less than 50 people. 10% want to develop on web browser. 60% want to be developing on PC. So PC is still 15% higher than Nintendo Switch. So if anything, it's still indie devs want to be on PC first. It's the publishers that often push towards consoles. 14% want to be on Mac. Mac gaming is terrible. 8% want to be on Linux. Linux gaming is terrible. Then an odd breakout here of 27% want to be on VR headsets. 20% want to be on AR headsets. 5% want to be on voice-powered games like Alexa and Google Home. 10% want to be on tabletop games, and 5% want to be on other. Let's see, there's a... What can we do here? Silence of minions. Hit this. If I can get Wind Fury, I think I can win. No. No Wind Fury. But I still think I can win. Then there's another survey. Switch sales have been greater than average, says 24% of the people. And then Switch sales have been average, says 20%, and Switch sales have been less than average, says 12%. So people who did launch on the Switch seem to feel like it's more than average. But to be fair, 43% of that survey question answered not applicable. I have only launched on the Switch or other issues. So 43% of people didn't put it on any other platform to compare, or didn't launch on the Switch at all. Alright. I think we can win here, but actually I don't think I can. I screwed that up. Let's see if there's anything else in this article worth mentioning. Not really. Gamatsu has that same article. NetEase acquires minority stake in Quantic Dreams. By the way, I'm listening to that Piff podcast with Randy Pitchford. Just because I'm mostly bored more than anything. So by Friday I'll be able to report back how weird it is. From what I've heard, it's pretty weird, but so far it sounds like standard two Magic nerds ranting and talking about nothing of real interest. Over on Steam, we have a game called Heart and Axe, which has a little bit going for it in its art style, but it's just so dark, and it's just like a top-down rogue-like game, or gauntlet-like game, it looks like. Yeah. you know, a couple decades ago I might have been really interested in playing a game like this, but nowadays not so much. $3.99 is too expensive too for what's being shown.
Your magic shall not save you.
Mushroom power!
Let's just end the turn. Let's see. That's one victory. We just need one more. Next we have a game on Steam called Welcome to Chichester Redux, which I'm fairly certain I saw a game called Welcome to Chichester like 3 or 4 weeks ago. The Spy of America and the Long Vacation. This looks like it's a low effort visual novel game. Looks pretty terribly animated, pretty terribly made. They want $1.59 for it. It says it's English only. Yep. Nothing here catches my interest. Next we have a game on Steam called Outliver Redemption. Looks like it's a top-down, maybe not shooter, twin stick shooter, as much as just running away. See, this is, yeah, it seems like you're just running away from what are probably pre-bought assets. Yeah, this looks terrible. $7.19. Yep. What they call game-like objects. Not quite a real game. Or just not polished enough to be a game that should be for consideration for a purchase on Steam. But to be fair, like right now, in the middle of people being frustrated that Metro Exodus is not going to be available on Steam the day it releases, the last thing I think you could justify and make sense of is for Steam to come in and say, we're going to kick off all these low quality bad games from our storefront and start doing curation. I don't think Steam can ever be a curated experience. It's too late. At best, you can filter. At best, you can have Steam Direct games go in a category that is just hidden by default for most people. At best, you can try to get the low quality terrible games hidden in some other folder, but that's kind of all you can do. Anyways, moving on, we have this game called Volcanoids, which looks a little interesting. I'm not sure that there's a real game here, but there might be. I want to show this video. So you've got this drill thing that comes, I think, out of the ground, and then it opens up as a base. And this probably is like a Minecraft clone survival game. But inside this volcano, this drill, you have like a real home base that you're doing base building on. So far this is rated very positive, but it's early access. $19.99. I'm willing to put this on the follow list. Yeah, this might be something. It might not, though. Seems like you have robots and you can change the outside and the inside of these. Maybe your gameplay has very little to do with the drills and you're just raiding them. You need to come over here and play. Let's see.
Almost out of time.
Do I want to kill this guy? I don't know. I'll leave it there. Next we have a game on Steam called Earth Atlantis, which I might be into this art style, but I don't think I'm into the idea of playing a game as a submarine underwater. Yeah. I kind of would be cool if somebody was drawing a comic book in this art style or a webcomic, but as a game, this looks a little too much like R-Type, and if I'm ever going to play anything that's like R-Type, like a side shooter game, it's going to be R-Type and only R-Type. $11.99. This one might be a good game for other people, but it's not for me, so I'm going to close that tab.
There's little time.
And it's not Friday, and it feels like every other Friday is the day that any of the adult games get approved. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's nothing but a bunch of random RPGs and shooter games and top-down twin-stick shooter games. Play this.
How long can this go on? How long can this go on?
Do that.
Job's done.
Speaking of random shooters, the next game we have is called Cyberia Delta. It's a shoot 'em up game. It's not terrible in its interface. Look, you've got this zoom in here that I don't know what the zoom in that really is going to help you with, but it's there. You've got things on the sides that at least look like they're doing something, even if they're not really doing anything. Guess maybe in a bullet hell style game, maybe it would be helpful to look over there at times. But I bet it isn't. $23.99 is really expensive for this game, though. So, and it's not my style of game again, so I'm not gonna put it on the wish list. But
shall not save you.
It's cool that it exists.
Free me!
Apparently THQ Nordic also, possibly to change the story about Metro Exodus, they leaked out via Game Trophies, quote-unquote accidentally, Darksiders 1 War Mastered Edition is coming to the Switch, which the Switch I think may be powerful enough. It should be powerful enough to play Darksiders 1 War Mastered Edition without any real changes or problems. And Darksiders 1 is a pretty old game anyways. What do they do with the Darksiders series at this point is the question, because they kind of screwed it all up. So with Darksiders 3, so they're gonna have to convince people that Darksiders 3 is worth playing after they played Darksiders 1 War Mastered Edition and Darksiders 2 War Mastered Edition, or Definitive Edition is Darksiders 2's name.
Arena's full. Beat
I don't think there's going to be any new content or anything. Let's see. Yeah, the original Darksiders launched for the PS4 and Xbox One and PC in November 2016, followed by a Wii U version in 2017. That's not right. Gamatsu's got their information wrong. The War Mastered Edition maybe came out in 2016, but the original Darksiders came out for the Xbox 360. I know, I played it, not the Xbox One, and probably came out for the PS3 too. Here we go.
Your magic shall not save you.
Victory again. And I probably could do that all day if I wanted to, but I definitely don't want to. Let's see if we'll give this guy one more chance to win while I'm covering news. Okay. All he has to do is play swipe. I looked into that one. Watch and learn.
Classic adventurer.
I don't think I was supposed to be looking at this. Alright. So now the daily quest on the European account is done. We can open this pack. We're still missing on the European account a decent amount, I think, of classic cards. But I wouldn't be surprised if all of these that we're getting are not new. So let's go ahead and disenchant this. Custom Druid would be invalid now. Why? Whatever. We'll figure that out. And disenchant that. Okay. And come over here. We need to find Custom Druid. 29 cards. Where is it? Here it is. Why can the game not figure that out by itself? Is the question. Why can I not disenchant a golden if I have two regular ones? I guess the thing we'd like to see though is just how many cards are actually missing. Because if we were really getting to a complete collection of classic cards on the other accounts, that would be very nice. But no, we still have quite a collection of epics to go. If I were to open even 200 packs of classics, I don't think we're gonna hit that. Yep, we're just still missing a lot. But we're done with the European account, so let's move over to the Asian account. GameIndustry.biz has the same article. THQ Nordic fully supports Metro's Exodus exclusivity. We really don't need to go over that article again now, so we'll Leave that there. We have a game on Steam called Bomber Barn, which is a Bomberman clone. It's been about a month since we've seen a Bomberman clone game on Steam. Doesn't really look like there's anything special about this though. Early access for no reason. $9.99 for no reason. Yeah, that's not making it to the fall list. Alright. And we have 3 games with a priest and warlock, 1 game with a mage and shaman. Play a bunch of cards that cost 2 or less. Mechs. Do we have any mechs? Any mech decks? That would make sense. Let's see what this is. I doubt this custom mage. There's Murlocs. I bet this custom shaman is. No. Alright, let's just make a deck. Then we'll just create a deck. Well, what do we need to win as? Priest or Warlock, so we'll go with I guess Warlock. Give me all the mechs you can give me. Let's see. Do we have anything amazing mech wise? I'm starting to yawn. Alright, well, we'll try that. Let's play. Time for that no-dose. That's what I was thinking how this was gonna go. Maybe it'll give me 3 or 4 more hours of being awake, which would put me right now around 5 in the evening to go to sleep, which that's at least getting close enough that I could start working towards going to sleep at a more reasonable time. Go ahead and trade these 2. Geez, they really don't want kids to drink these things, obviously. It's childproofing. I imagine it doesn't have anything to do with childproofing, really. Imagine it has to do with just not having people grab these expensive, overpriced drinks and drinking them in the stores and not paying for them. Funny thing happened. I nearly killed myself by eating cinnamon cereal and then falling asleep a couple days ago. I woke up with the cinnamon in the back of my throat, burning my esophagus. And that was just from eating like a couple bowls of cinnamon cereal and then drinking the cinnamon that had fallen off that cereal. Who knows how that would really go if you tried to eat a whole spoonful. Well, I guess everybody knows where that goes. It ends up with you either nearly dying or actually dying. Either YouTube has gotten better about not propagating those types of challenge videos, which they say they're trying not to propagate those types of videos, or people have gotten smarter to not do these types of things. And it's probably asking too much to expect that people actually got smarter. By the way, YouTube is in early discussions, it says, to trying to deal with dislike mobs. I don't see why that's really an issue. Like, clearly that only affects people that work at YouTube when they put up their stupid YouTube videos that everybody hates and disagrees with, or when somebody puts up a commercial or video that everybody disagrees with. In the end, it doesn't make any sense to change people's or limit people's abilities to dislike things, regardless of whether they've watched the video or they just hate the title or what. Because YouTube has always been telling us if a video gets disliked, it doesn't affect the algorithm, it doesn't mean anything, it doesn't do anything. So the only people that are really complaining are when there's like a Battlefield trailer video that's like the most hated video ever. It's just these big companies that don't want to accept the reality of the situation, that while there are a lot of people just coming to dislike your video, people don't do that just because. They do that because they are actually unhappy with something. It's not just a random thing.
Let's go.
Let's go ahead and play that too. Like, I really don't imagine anybody is raiding somebody's YouTube channel to dislike it or anything like that. That doesn't seem like that's something people would bother to do, and raiding in general is not happening. So the fact that they're saying they're dislike mobs in the first place on YouTube, I think is kind of not honest. It's putting a label on something when to group people in and devalue people's opinions. It's kind of like the same thing where there are certainly people out there that just claim everybody that doesn't like what they're saying is racist or sexist or Nazi. I mean, Nazi's a great example of that. It's like, no, maybe they just don't agree with you and have different opinions, or maybe they think what you're saying is dumb. On the copyright YouTube front too, apparently if the story is as it seems to be, there's at least one YouTuber who is being being blackmailed into paying a ransom. Otherwise, somebody's going to continue to give copyright DMCA strikes to their channel to potentially get it taken down and deleted. The copyright system a lot of people are talking about right now, so this must be the end of January push once again to get YouTube to stop being so stupid with the way they deal with DMCAs. And at this point I can say it is stupid, because guess what? That game that was DMCA'd, Star Control, I believe, is back on Steam and back on Good Old Games. So there is a way, even if something is taken down, for people who have moneyed interest and care about it to put it back up. Now that was kind of a unique scenario, certainly, because there was already a lawsuit in place against Good Old Games and Valve, so it doesn't really seem like it matters at this point if they continue to sell the game. That just either ends up being money that would be paid directly to the people suing and filing the DMCA's, or that's going to be money in the pocket of the developer of the game. So like, I don't think Valve or Steam are going to lose too much on it, and they stand to lose too much the other direction if they don't fight it. I am surprised that worked. Took me until just now to open that stupid no-dose drink. Although maybe I crushed it with my teeth trying to open it. I think I did. So that might have made it harder to open. By the way, I think this also expired, 3 years ago. Yeah, this is not safe. This is not healthy. This is not smart. Too late. Already started. Warlock or Priest? We'll give it a Priest game. Just so it's not too boring. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was spoiled. Well, nothing like being violently ill to keep you awake, I suppose. That also goes to show that I haven't had to really drink too many energy drinks in the past few years because I've just been focusing on my YouTube channel, and very rarely am I in a situation where I would decide that I absolutely need to take such extreme measures.
Your soul shall be mine.
The light shall bring victory.
Suppose if I don't stream on Friday, you can assume I've either become violently ill or worse from that. Moving on, we really don't have too many more games, maybe like 20. We have a game on Steam called Azusa RP Online, which looks like garbage, and that name is pretty generic. Search engine optimization, $18.99. Says it's an online MMO RPG. To me it looks like an RPG maker game. Still just does not look quality.
Quickly.
Let's see. Oh, here's that story I was just talking about anyways. GameIndustry.biz has the article, Star Control Origins restored to good old games after DMCA block. Publisher thanks Valve and Good Old Games for their, quote, timely review of the situation. Stardock's latest release has now been fully restored to both Good Old Games and Steam after its launch was blocked by a DMCA takedown notice. The notice was issued by former Star Control developers Fred Ford and Paul Reich III. And
Right away.
let's make sure we just keep on playing. As part of an ongoing legal dispute with Stardock, and prompted the two prominent PC game marketplacers to remove Origins from their stores. Stardock has already spoken against this move, referring to it as DMCA abuse, and Valve sided with the publisher earlier this month by making Star Control Origins available to its customers. So the thing here is maybe, just maybe, Valve and Good Old Games don't need that safe harbor protection that YouTube thinks it does need, and maybe that is true, but I don't really know if the situation's too different, particularly with Steam Direct and anybody basically being able to publish a game on Steam. But maybe also Valve would not take that route for a Steam Direct game and would only take that route for people they investigate and actually trust. Let's see. There's a quote here from Starduck. Quote, thanks to a timely review of the situation by our partners Good Old Game and Valve, and taking the exceptional step in placing our game back in sale, despite ongoing litigation, we have been able to avoid having to lay off any employees assigned to the project, the company wrote. How many employees are assigned to a project that's already available for sale?
In the light,
Though. Probably not as many as there used to be. Quote, we hope that this malicious use of the DMCA process will make consumers aware of just how out of hand the state of DMCA has become. Everybody's hating DMCA. But, I mean, honestly, it could be 10 years before that message gets to any senator or congressman who's very possibly being paid by people who love to abuse the DMCA all the time.
face the light.
Anyone with an interest in digital goods and services owes it to themselves to increase their awareness of how widespread DMCA abuse has gotten and spread the word on it. The legal dispute between Stardock, Ford, and Ryky stems from disagreements over Stardock's controls ownership. What's funny here is it's still, last I heard, felt like we were more in a situation where Stardock was in the wrong, but oddly it seems like it's that seems like Steam and Good Old Games are going to side with the company that could make the money. So this court case will eventually be settled, and hopefully the DMCA part of this story will be settled too, but I imagine it'll just never be brought up again. And if I was Ford and Ryky, Paul Ryky III, I would be filing more and more DMCA takedowns, and I would be documenting every single time they refuse to take down the game as a separate instance of knowingly and willingly violating the DMCA. And if the court case goes their way, I think potentially Valve and Stardock and Good Old Games might be in big trouble for putting the game up and ignoring other continued DMCA takedowns. Because the judge, the actual judge in the case, said that no, Ford and Ryky have every right to file a DMCA takedown. And so the judge seems to be, at least on that part of the story, siding with them. The judge hasn't seen or heard the whole case, of course. Another victory. I'm having easy victories today. Alright, so 4 more characters that cost 2 or less and 1 more victory, and we're done. Next we have a game on Steam called Give It Up Plus, which looks like it's a just platformer jumping game, nothing that I would ever want to play. This doesn't look terrible. It has its own little art style to it. It may be a rhythm game, maybe not. It's $2.69 discounted right now.
The light shall
I'm not going
bring
to put it on the
victory.
follow list because it's just not my type of game, but whatever. You can see other people doing that. Game of Sutra has an article, get a job, Method X EXP is looking for a graphics engineer. That job is in San Francisco, California, if you're interested.
Is someone injured?
GameIndustry.biz has an article, Certain Affinity sets up Toronto studio. And then the subtitle here is Trump's America non-stop flights and distressed students help decide where the Halo code developer opened its new office. I wonder if there's a quote here to say that, but yeah.
Right away.
It's not super related to video games, but I also heard that Foxconn claimed they were going to open a facility, and then now they're backing out on opening that facility in some city in like Wisconsin. I think you were joking yourself if you actually ever believed any company that says they're going to open a facility in the United States and pay U.S. employees for manufacturing style jobs. Like, you know, they're always going to find ways to move those jobs to China, to Mexico, to India. Like, in no style of what they claim is unskilled labor, you're not going to pay the U.S. minimum wage. There's a quote here for this. I wanted to go somewhere where we could recruit international employees much more easily. It's very, very difficult in the States.
In the light's name.
I don't think it really is that difficult to bring in foreign workers.
Right away.
In the United States. I would argue that it should be more difficult. Disney, for example, like, has been pushing to replace a lot of their animators with foreign workers.
Like to play with fire?
And a lot of other companies are too. But also in the video game industry, it's not just about bringing in foreign workers, it's about bringing in skilled talent. So I could see the idea of, hey, if we have this in Canada, we can bring in somebody from India who's actually good at making games, not just a random person that we can pay less and treat terribly. The current office is in Austin, Texas, apparently, for this company. So he wanted direct flights from Austin, Texas to the Austin studio to Toronto. Let's see. There's problems with setting up business in Canada too, but not a ton. This article says Hoberman left Bungie and founded Certain Affinity in 2006. I'm not sure Certain Affinity as a company though has made any games. So let's see if I can find a Wikipedia article. Certain Affinity. is based in Austin, Texas. Yes. What games have they worked on? Says they did the multiplayer DLC Blastacular Map Pack for Halo 2, Age of Booty in 2008, Call of Duty World War, Left 4 Dead assisting development in 2008. I don't think any of this is true though. Like I think this is all under a different name, so I'd have to possibly do some more research, but yeah. I'm kind of suspicious here of what is being attributed to them. Well, it says if it started in 2006.
I got the best deals anywhere.
I guess maybe it is true though. I mean, because the Halo 2 is 2007. They did a multiplayer map in for Halo Reach in 2011. It made Crimson Alliance. That's Age of Booty and Crimson Alliance are the only games that they've actually made instead of just working on or co-developing it. And then they did they co-developed with Raven Software Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remaster. And they did the multiplayer for Doom, which nobody really cared about. So Certain Affinity, I would argue, is a little too early to be doing what it's doing. It really should be building itself up, I think, a little bit more before you would make a second company, because they hardly have been successful with their own intellectual property or anything like that.
You brought me back.
Excuse me. Next we have a game on Steam called Save the Village Chief, which is an RPG maker. So apparently Wednesdays are the days that RPG maker looking games get approved. English language not supported, $19.99. It's a Chinese game. No big surprise there. Although what would surprise me as far as Chinese games? Not much. Gamasutra had the tweet out for, it has an article, video : a game dev's guide to designing great tutorials. That might be worth watching if you want to be a game developer and want to learn from other people who, or watch a speech of other people who made tutorials and think they did it well. This is just mostly a video. It came out January 29th, so it's not a repost though, so that's something. At least. This, and this.
Face the light.
Let's see. Gamasutra's article, Fate Stay Night 15th Celebration Project begins. The PC visual novel was released 15 years ago today. So the Fate Stay series has been doing its thing in many different formats: light novels, animes, movies, TV anime series. There's so many. It's a super convoluted series of stories that they kind of reboot, and the visual novel is probably the one you would want to play to understand why some of the TV series go on one branching path and others go on a different branching path, is because the game itself had different endings and the
Nature's blessings upon you.
Stories are built around that. I'm not sure that means there's going to be anything as far as a 15-year anniversary re-release or anything like that. And I probably should do some research and see. Oh man, Mechathune. I got Mechathuned. Let's see. I should do some research and see what the current state of Fate Stay games are on Steam and how many, if any, are on my wish list. And I'm not 100% sold that it's really a game series I need to cover as far as visual novels. It really depends on how deep I go into visual novel territory, because that's a big commitment. Moving on, Gematsu has an article, Vasara Collection, V-A-S-A-R-A, for the PS4, Switch, and PS Vita. Limited physical run announced. I don't know what Vasara is. It includes both Vasara and Vasara 2, which were initially released in 2000 and 2001, and formerly exclusive to Japanese arcades. It's coming out for the PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC, Mac, and PS Vita. Let's see, what is the game like though? I think it might be a side-scrolling shooter game. Yeah, it says it's a shoot-'em-up, but I'm not getting a trailer or anything for it, so that's, I guess, all I can get or take from it. GameIndustry.biz has an article, Playtika opens $6 million research and development center in Bucharest. The new Romanian outfit will provide Q&A and testing for the mobile company's games. Playtika is an Israeli-based games firm. They specialize in social casino-style games such as Poker Heat, Vegas Words, and Bingo Blitz. And that would explain why I've never heard of them, or their name doesn't sound familiar. So yeah, nothing else to say that. Gamasutra has the same article, Deep Silver owner THQ Nordic distanced itself from Metro Exodus exclusivity deal. Let's go ahead and play this. Gematsu has an article, Disaster Report 4+ Summer Memories X Revisions Anime Collaboration Costume DLC announced. So that would be Disaster Report 4+ Summer Memories, one game, and then Revisions, which might be Disaster Report 4+ Revisions, which is probably an anime, are being merged together in the costume. Unfortunately, the Disaster Report series is one of those series that I would love to see it come out to the rest of the world, but they've specifically said they're not going to do that, or not anytime soon. So, Disaster Plus 4 Summer Memories is available for the PS4 in Japan right now. And apparently the anime is just called Revisions, and any anime that's out in Japan right now when they would be doing a cross promotion is too new for most people, including me, to know anything about. Although that is changing quite a lot now. Simultaneous airing is happening more and more. This outfit looks like it's just like a Future Armor style outfit. There's nothing super special about it. I wouldn't really spend the effort or the money for that DLC costume. Moving on, we have a game on Steam called Cubians Combine, VR game of some sort, and it doesn't look like it's anything interesting. Bunch of cube people that I don't know what you're supposed to do with them, because the video just stopped there. $9.99. There's like a battle and a lobby, and that's it. This doesn't feel like this is a finished, thought out game. This feels like a demo. Alright, so you're combining Cubians with vehicles, and then they're defending waves. Yeah, so it's a tower defense basically in VR.
Almost out of time.
Next we have a game that's just all in Asian characters with no name. It says it's an RPG visual novel. It looks kind of well animated, so I'm not immediately gonna think it's low quality, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is a Chinese game. And here's the reason why. You've got two screenshots with nothing on it here, and then a screenshot with nothing on it there. So English not supported, $1.19, simplified Chinese. Yep. A Japanese visual novel would have an anime girl in every screenshot, pretty much.
Unleash me.
Just go and keep on drawing cards and keep on playing. Let's see. Next we have a game on Steam called AI Evolution. It looks like it's a pretty bad mobile port or something, because why isn't it widescreen otherwise? This feels like this was designed to be some kind of kids game, but it just looks like freakish to me. Like a co-op, build your own monster combined concept. Maybe the idea here is there actually is an AI, a machine learning educational game where you design and train an AI creature to compete in various challenges. Yeah, I think that's what it is, yeah. So the AI itself is learning how to get from point A to point B.
So many possibilities.
I'll put this on the fall list and see if people actually say it's good, because this might be an interesting educational look at a game, but I imagine this is probably more just a bait and switch concept where there really isn't an AI behind it, and even if there is a weak AI behind it, it's not going to be particularly interesting. It's hardly like an IBM AI or a Google AI that's going to be running on your computer, figuring out how to make a character walk around. Ellie Furland is on the chat. What's the name of the game? Well, we're playing Hearthstone. The last game I was looking at is called AI Evolution. We're looking at all the games that came out in the last couple days on Steam. So I hope that answers your question. I believe the game I was talking about before this was Disaster Report 4, a Japanese exclusive game. It's in case you're behind, but I certainly can't go back and list every single game I was talking about, so you'll have to rewind if you're if you're really interested. That ability is available to you. See, I can do 6 damage. So if I do something like this, and then this, I think I can probably win next turn just with these. And I really don't have a reason to do this, but I'll do it anyways. Gamatsu has an article, Azure Lane Crosswave adds illustrations and Ajax. Japanese limited edition announced. So I'm seeing some illustrations and a character named Ajax for this game, Azure Lane. The animations don't look very good. They're just like kind of badly drawn anime characters that I think also are supposed to be pilots of mechas. So not really seeing anything super interesting there. Azure Lane Crosswave is due out for the PS4 in 2019 in Japan, so they don't even have a solid release date. Alright, let's do this. Victory. And what do we want to do now? Because we're done with all the daily quests. Let's see. TechRaptor has the same article. EA backs down versus the Belgium loot box laws. Removes FIFA points. Gamatsu has an article. Power Rangers Battle for the Grid extended announcement and gameplay reveal trailers. I wanted to show off this because I haven't watched a Power Rangers cartoon probably ever, but I haven't seen even parts of a Power Ranger cartoons in a very long time. So I recognize the Green Ranger here. I recognize the Red Ranger here. Who the heck is this? This is not any Yellow Ranger I've ever seen. I did hear a story that the reason why the female Rangers, at least in the first Power Rangers, had a skirt is because it was mostly being done by a male Japanese, all these are in the suits are Japanese stunt doubles. So they needed the skirt so that, as to hide the bulge, pretty much. But I guess maybe there was a new Power Rangers series. What is this in her hand? I have no idea. I really have no major interest in a Power Ranger series. It looks like this is a fighting game. Yeah, it's just a fighting game that is going to involve Power Rangers fighting each other. Seems like more than anything else. Alright, and seems like that might be different different Power Rangers from different generations fighting each other, which would make sense. It's not gonna sell anywhere as well as the as Dragon Ball FighterZ, though. I can guarantee you that. TechRaptor has an article. Updated. Law firm unleashes a Baggeddon upon Bethesda over Fallout 76. I assume this is to do with the bags that were the canvas bags that were being delivered to people who bought the collector's edition of Fallout 76. Also, some of the special editions of Fallout 76 are being removed from stores. I don't know if that there was speculation if that means they're going to free to play, but that seems to be not likely to what's happening. Ellie Ferland. Can you say a word in French, please? Omelette du fromage. Normally I would say no. There is a rule over here that says English only. But there you go. That was at least 2 words in French. So the update on this story from TechRaptor is this law firm Migliaccio and Rathold reached out to TechRaptor to clarify they also intend to pursue hundreds of individual arbitrations in addition to a class action lawsuit in California. They call this their two-pronged attack. As for the 26-day deadline, this stems from ZeniMax legal terms in paragraph 15, section A. It says if ZeniMax does not resolve the dispute to your satisfaction within 45 days after the receipt of your written notification, you may pursue your dispute in arbitration. I could get into a rant specifically about arbitration clauses and how they need to disappear. Ellie Fearland asks, what will you do with your gold? And thumbs up okay. In reverse order. The gold, when there's a new expansion, will make card pack opening videos for the Americas account, the European account, and the Asian account, which means I'll be opening slightly over 50 packs for 3 different accounts with the gold. Mostly on my main account, that will be for the new expansion, whatever that is. Let's see. Not this Lunar New Year bundle, because that's not any new cards. But when there's a newer thing than Rastakhan's Rumble, I'll buy like 50 packs of this on my main account or more. As for the Asian account and the European accounts, they're still missing quite a few of the classic cards, so I'll focus more heavily on buying classic cards here until I have a complete collection, or closer to a complete collection. That's probably the best strategy for people, is to have classic cards above anything else. Let's see, TechRaptor has an article, THQ Nordic prematurely leaks Darksiders War Mastered Switchboard. We already talked about this. Apparently there's a video, but it doesn't really need to be shown. The Times of India had an article that got retweeted, and I saw this on Reddit. Playing video games together can boost office productivity. So instead of hiring an overpriced speaker to talk in your office, maybe you should just get an Xbox. I can see some problems certainly putting an Xbox in a break room, people being late from their breaks and such, or people getting too into it. Definitely don't have people playing games like Madden or against each other. But if you are very careful on what games you play, and your employees are probably more responsible than you could ever really expect them to be, maybe it kind of makes sense. Particularly if it's a more laid-back office, or if it's a video game development place, then yeah, that would make sense too, in particular. Gamma Sutra has an article, you should put your name on your game, find out why at GDC 2019, and it has a reference picture of American McGee's Alice, which, yeah, he put his name on the Alice series, and that probably is doing a big disservice to the Alice series getting any more games, even though he is desperately working out of China to try and make a 3rd game happen. If you're making an indie game, sure, put your name on that game, but if you're working for a company or working with a publisher, I don't think they're gonna enjoy that. And it's kind of not a smart move in the long run, because very few people are the only person who touched a game or worked on it. Even small indie games usually have teams of 10, 20 people on it. And I don't see a reason to be egotistical there. It's not like writing books, really, where a book by Stephen King is allegedly written by Stephen King, which I don't even think that's true. Moving on to the next article, we're just going through all these articles. TechRaptor, Anthem flies high, but BioWare should be wary of the sun. So apparently they enjoyed the VIP experience of of Anthem. From what I've heard, people who got in and didn't have any problems with Anthem liked it fine. I didn't hear any glowing reviews of the game. But the tech problems in particular were pretty bad. Let's see. Gamma Sutra has a blog article. Why did we DMCA our own game a few weeks after launching? This is the this is a team at Ammo Box Studios, a small 10-man indie team, mostly based in Malaysia, with a few around the world. On the 28th of September 2018, they released a game called Eximus Sees the Frontline, and then they signed with this UK-based publisher based in Cambridge, and then I think we've already heard this story, but they had to DMCA their own game to stop the publisher from selling it because the publisher was not paying. Which may very well have been the deal in the first place, though it's not unheard of for publishers to not pay until they've recouped all of their own costs. But this publisher apparently has done this a couple times, if you want to read the story on Gamma Sutra. It's kind of a recap just from the mouth of the people that actually did it. Gamma Sutra is a place where a lot of game devs blog. We've got like 2 more articles and then we're going to wrap up, so apologies for just sitting here. TechRaptor has the Resident Evil 2 Review Revolutionary Remake. Let's see what they gave it. They gave it a 9.0, amazing. Resident Evil 2 is a triumph celebration of the original that scares to the core and sets a new standard for remaking old games. Pro's faithful remake that mixes things up, incredibly effective horror, stunning visuals and sound designs, and the Tyrant is an extremely effective villain. I guess slight spoiler there. Cons difference between playthroughs are poorly explained, and it seems like that is one of the sticking points, is that a lot of people don't seem to want to play the B game or even know how to click on the B game and play it after they play the A game. Next we have a game on Steam called Rise of Ages, which looks like it's a 2D construction survival game that's also probably a tower defense game. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything here that really interests me though. This feels just like a Terraria set in the past. And not really seeing anything that's super interesting here. It's almost got something that catches my interest, but the core gameplay mechanic doesn't have it. It's early access. They want $15.29. That's quite a lot. So yeah, that's not making it to the follow list, which means there's really only 2 games that did make it to the follow list today in our entire collection. That puts me at the Humble Bundle store. They came out with a Indie PlayStation 2019 bundle, which those aren't PC games, so nothing there. They also have some Fantasy Comics bundle that I'll look at on my own time, I guess, to see if any of those comics might interest me. You know what, I'll just scroll through them right now and see. They have volume 1 through 4 of Cells at Work. Yeah, they're saying Fantasy Comics here, but it looks like a lot of these are mangas. Volume 1 through 15 of Pumpkin Sisters, that's kind of old. These are also almost certainly all ebooks, if you're getting them. So you're going to get them digital. Yep. Different comic books, most of which I haven't heard of. And I guess as we're wrapping up here, I could scroll down my Twitter feed, but if I did that, that would be boring, and we've already wrapped up on boring in the end here. I want to say thanks to everybody that popped in and chatted. This has been the first time we've gotten a lot of people chatting in a couple weeks, since the new year at least. So maybe I should always stream at noon or earlier. Feedback and comments on the video as far as when I should start streaming would always be appreciated, and we'll try and learn that. I think over here I say a specific time when I try to stream. I probably need to change that. That's going to be it for the stream though. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below in the description. When you subscribe, also click that notification bell. If you want to support me even further, which would be greatly appreciated, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.